Hello, welcome back everyone. For our second panel session, we'll explore whether compelling content on local platforms can attract advertisers in today's competitive market. And also as a quick reminder, please submit your questions for the Q&A via slido.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now pleased to introduce Encik Muhammad Rizwan Yahya, Broadcasting Development Specialist at MCMC, as the moderator for this session. Encik Rizwan brings over 30 years of experience in the broadcasting industry. His journey began in 1992 at TV3, where he rose to the position of General Manager, Engineering Services. He later contributed to key projects as a consultant like the network content industry for MCMC and the development of Malaysia's digital terrestrial TV broadcasting master plan for the government of Malaysia. Now we invite our distinguished panelists to the stage. Can I have Yang Bahagia Datuk Suhaimi Sulaiman, Director General Radio Television Malaysia. Yang Bahagia Datuk Ahmad Izham Omar, Chief Explorer, Comet Productions, Sdn Bhd. Mr. Nicholas, Chief Operating Officer, Rev Media Group, Media Prima Berhad. And Mr. Claudian Nevin, President, Malaysian Advertisers Association. Before we begin, I'd like to add a little personal touch. Both Nicholas and Dato' Ahmad Izham Omar are not just industry leaders, but also my former colleagues from Media Prima. So happy to see both of them here. Can I have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, Encik Rizwan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good still morning, everyone. It's a great honor to share this stage with the leaders and influential figures of the industry. And I am so proud to be able to be here with the rest of the panelists. It is my pleasure to introduce the panelists first. Even my first panelist, even though he needs no introduction, but I still need to introduce him. Datuk Suhaimi Sulaiman, an old friend and a former colleague, is one of Malaysia's top media personalities with over 32 years of experience as a producer, broadcast journalist, anchorman, media consultant, and content strategist. What he's not is just engineering. The rest, he tapau. Okay. So I got a little bit of age over him because I got engineering a little bit. Dato' also played a key role in setting up Astro Awani, and he was the CEO of TV Sarawak. And he has won some awards, Reuters Institute Digital News Report Award in 2018. He was honored with MPI Petronas Special Jury Award for Leadership in Journalism in 2019, and a CNN Journalism Fellow. And Yang Bahagia Datuk is also an adjunct professor at University Kebangsaan Malaysia. And next, Datuk Izham Omar. How are you, sir? Ready to go? Datuk Izham has got extensive experience in the creative field, well-versed in the creative process of multiple content types, and has an enviable track record in the media and content business across Southeast Asia. He is currently Chief Explorer of New Southeast Asia Content Investment Production outfit Comet Production, and he was previously Executive Director, Content and Creative at the Walt Disney Company, Southeast Asia, after a long spell at Media Prima, where he was the CEO of Primeworks Studio and Media Prima TV Networks. Thank you for joining us, Dato'. And next, we have Mr. Nicholas Sagau. He's the Chief Operating Officer of Rev Media Group, and part of where he plays a key role in driving the digital transformation of Media Prima Berhad. And he has over 20 years of experience in digital media. He oversees the operation and strategic direction of Rev Media's digital content network, which reaches 15 million Malaysians each month. So in addition to his role as COO, he also serves as a Digital Operation Transformation Officer at the Group Managing Director Office, spearheading technological advancements. He now serves as Vice President of Malaysian Digital Association, MDA. Next, and not forgetting, for purposes of easy pronunciation, I just introduce him as Navin. Okay. Navin has over 25 years of expertise in marketing communications, brand transformation, and media negotiation across ASEAN. He's a recognized strategist, innovator, and thought leader. As Group Strategic Director at 11 Trees Kitchen, he leads the transformation and regional expansion of F&B brands, while also creating new brands by identifying untapped market opportunities. So thank you, Navin, for your time here. And just to add, he is also the president of the Malaysian Advertisers Association, MAA, and he works with diverse stakeholders to foster a thriving business environment, and he is also an adjunct professor at Taylor's University. Thank you. So Navin, just not to put pressure on you, the four of us has got an somehow line with either TV3 or Media Prima, you know. So no pressure. Huh? Okay, let's let's move on. Okay, for the first session was very interesting, where the panelists shared their thoughts on why advertisers are migrating to digital platform. And I think we need to continue exploring whether compelling local content on local platforms can attract advertisers, and what does it take to do so. So now let's get right to it. First to Datuk Suhaimi. So following on to Sandeep's presentation this morning, he mentioned that broadcasters need to think more like a streaming studio and act like Netflix. And what are your thoughts on this with respect to the content? Yep. Switch on.
Hello, yes. Okay, let me rewind. I agree totally with Sandeep, yeah? Because, okay, let me rewind. Okay, this is my second year in RTM. I was enjoying my retirement for 3 months, and then I was asked to do national service to help RTM. So I went into RTM. So the first thing that we discussed during the first meeting at RTM was, guys, we just have to change because, I give you an example. Yeah? There are people who love 1 hour news broadcast. And there are many people out there who have, the attention span is getting shorter and shorter. You know, so we reduced our news content to 30 minutes. And then we say, no, it should be shorter. So now, the highest rated news program in RTM is our 15-minute news. We call it Kanta, 744, because it went on air at 7:44. When I was in the previous channel, some of them are here, I believe, with Astro, yeah. We had to say we have to beat Bulletin Utama, but Bulletin Utama is very, very strong, so we can't beat Bulletin Utama. Yeah, they're very strong. Yeah, because I was once an anchor of Bulletin Utama. Anyway, so I said, okay, let's go 1 minute earlier than 7:45. So we went at 7:44, and people loved it. And then we realized that the attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and then we repurposed the content. 1 minute, and perhaps we chose like just 3 or 4 main news of the day, and we put them on TikTok, and you get 1 million, 2 million people watching it. So what's happening right now is there's a group of people, but one thing which is good is that our primetime news has increased in viewership. That's on television, but we are growing followers on the social media and also on digital media. So you see, all this while, there are many people in Malaysia that have not been watching anything. I don't know where they were. So now we are growing terrestrial, and we are also growing digital, which is a good opportunity for all of us. Now, moving forward, not just content, because we are trapped. Because if you're on television, you either do programs 30 minutes or 1 hour, because that's the computerized systems, you know, you have to push certain buttons. Yeah? Now, what we are doing now is we are going to go for content. We said, we don't care what the duration is. Yesterday, I had a meeting with, because we are producing 1 new program. I said, why are you worried about 30 minutes? If it's 11 minutes and it's very compelling, just do it. Yeah? Because I agree with the panelists in the earlier session that said that it is not your platform, it's that content that people want to watch. And it could be on television, it could be on TikTok, it could be on Instagram, it could be in anywhere. So for us, we are promoting our RTM Click, our OTT, because we are gaining tractions over there. So moving forward, yes, we have to behave like Netflix, like streaming organizations, because that's the habit. For us in RTM, what we are doing now is understand how people are thinking, how are they feeling, what do they want to watch. So if you give them what they want, it is basically marketing 101. You fulfill the needs and wants of your customers. What we have are just platforms and technology. So moving forward, that's the thinking in RTM. Round one, finished. Thank you.
That's a quick one, but not going to let you go. Okay. I just want to add on, if you could elaborate a little bit. What is the role of local content in shaping the future of our industry across multiple platforms?
Okay, local content is so important. I grew up watching, I love Anugerah Juara Lagu. I can't miss Anugerah Juara Lagu. And now I'm actually watching also, apa orang tua-tua nyanyi ni on Astro. It's actually very nice. Apa ni? Kilowatt Emas, yes. Kilowatt Emas. I follow all. And in RTM, we also have a singing competition called Bintang RTM. Yeah, Bintang RTM has been around for a long, long time. So it is local content. Number one, people love it, ratings tinggi. But we are also evolving. We realize that, okay, this is what we realized. Recently, during the Southeast Asian Games, SEA Games, yeah, TikTok came to us and said, hey, you guys know that the 10.3 million people are actually watching SEA Games on TikTok. Huh? That is a third of Malaysian population. I don't think it's true. So when we went to talk to the TikTok people said, they are audiences from Indonesia and also Thailand. They're actually watching the soccer match finals on your TikTok. Aha. So meaning Indonesians are actually watching us. So I went and asked the engineers, the data people. Yes, data is king. Somebody mentioned earlier. Yes, data is superb. You need data. And the top three people, the top three group of audiences that would watch RTM Click, number one, of course, Malaysia. Number two, Singapore. Number three, Indonesia. So we have people accessing us from Indonesia. And because of that, the opening act at Bintang RTM recently was a very famous Indonesian singer. I had no idea she was famous. My God, I have not followed, the singing industry in Indonesia. Her name was Anggi Morito ke Anggi Morita? Anggi Morito. Anggi Morito was our opening act because we needed to repurpose the content for the Indonesian market. So local, we win. We also need to move abroad. You have to extend because if you can't monetize here, you can have rancangan ini dibawa kepada anda oleh Sari Ayu Marta Tilaar. Yes, so we need to go to Indonesia for our next market. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Suhaimi. That was very comprehensive. Probably Datuk Suhaimi would want to jadi participant Kilauan Mas. You qualify, bro. Okay, my next question, Datuk Izam. Moving on from Datuk Suhaimi punya comments tadi. Contents for yang watch people from other South Asian countries. And you being a producer and former broadcaster, what elements do you think local content are suitable for us in attracting and engaging local audience as well as this new audience that Datuk Suhaimi mentioned?
Okay. First of all, I just want to listen to this guy again. Sorry. He's so engaging. I grew up watching him. There was a program in the 90s called Telescope.
Yeah, somebody said the F word, yes.
Somebody said the F-bomb. So he's the first rebel in Malaysia. But that shows, underlines the point, is that local content is so relevant no matter what quality it is, it beats everything. Now, last time I was very fortunate to be producing the Malaysian Idol on TV3. Before that, we showed American Idol. The ratings were so different, even though the price of making it is so different for local stuff, right? But the ratings were so in favor of the local that we realized that no matter what you do, local wins, right? Then, when I went to work at Disney, obviously, and is this going out to...
No, it's all right, it's all right.
Okay, I won't say anything. Other than, if you put a local show into an international platform, it beats everything. No matter what anyone says. So the key is, you know your market, you know your audience. If you know your audience, you know how to get them. And in most cases, it is actually local. Someone actually brought up the point, I think it was Suparna, that we actually live in Rapunzel bubble, right? We are in the tower. We're in the tower, and we go down from the tower with our long silky hair. I don't have hair. Long silky hair. Get into our air-conditioned cars, go to our air-conditioned houses, and watch our TV, which is usually one of the streaming platforms. And then we don't realize that 90% of the people out there, maybe 95% of the people out there, don't behave like us. I would just let you just go out there on the street. First 10 people you meet on the street, I bet you will realize that, oh, we are not Malaysia. We don't represent. If somebody says, everybody watches this content, everybody is 3 people, usually, right? That's what they say. When 3 people tell them, I watch the content, suddenly it's everybody. So the point is, you have to realize local is very, very important. And that's why I think even though I left Media Prima and I did some regional stuff, it was still local. Whether it's for Malaysia or Indonesia or Thailand, there was more important work than it is to do non-local work.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. So to add on a little bit, probably you're talking about this local content, kan? I know that everybody loves watching local content. Okay. What is the recipe or ingredient to make it more compelling compared to that?
Nobody knows, actually.
Your thoughts?
Oh, okay. This may sound mama fufu, but you got to get to the heart of your audience. And the only way you can get to the heart of your audience if you are out there with them and not watching them through a lens or on the side. I used to say this to the people that I worked with last time. When you're when you're watching an underground gig, if you have to understand the audience, you got to go in the mosh pit and jump up and down with them. Then you listen to what they say. Whatever they're saying, oh, my parents don't know I'm here, or I've got SPM next week, what am I doing this gig? Whatever it is, you listen to their heart and soul. So once you know your audience heart and soul, and not just someone from the side, then you know exactly what kind of content to make for them, and also what kind of content to make that you can pull them somewhere that you want to. So the only way to do that is to actually really, really understand your target audience, and do not rely on any research agency. You got to do it yourself.
Thank you. For all you content producers, that's a big hint. Okay, Nicholas, on to you. So we know that local content is king. Basically, content is king. Local content is a greater king, and we are at this point for TV basically are showing for regional markets. I mean local, national markets. Okay, which probably limits the source of more audience. So I just want to broach this subject to you and your thoughts on it of regional broadcasting, regional and subsequently regional advertising. What are your thoughts on it, please?
Oh, okay, now I don't know how to switch on mic. I think, like, adding on to Izam's comment, right? So when we were working together in Media Prima, one of the things that Dato' Izam always tell the team when we think of our ideas is, don't think of the idea because we live in Kelana Jaya or Petaling Jaya or even Kuala Lumpur, because we are always in this central city that we always think everything evolves around us, right? But when we go into the mosh pit, which we're quite blessed because we have a program like Jum Hebo, right? So we attend Jum Hebo ourselves and go to different part of the country and really feel the Malaysian out there. That's how we come back and figure out, oh, actually, we shouldn't be always thinking about content that works, for matching the international OTT, for example, right? So an example for us is that when you look at our OTT service like Tonton, right? No matter how much we get, syndicated content, or no matter how much we do a lot of different type of content, right? The content that's always trending all the time is Bulletin Utama, right? Like rain or shine, whichever political party is in control or not, Bulletin Utama still shine, because everyone watch Bulletin Utama. So everywhere we go, even Jum Hebo, we go on ground, you bought logo of Bulletin Utama, one corner, it's always full of people, and actually no one is there. Because the brand and the localized version of that content is so strong, people feel and want to be part of that, right? So to go to your question is, we feel, relating to how broadcasters should be evolving rapidly into technology, like what Matthew were talking about just now, addressable TV, right? That's something that has been fast coming, and I think we're quite blessed in probably Astro and Media Prima. We can invest in this technology because we could do now retargeting of ads, right? In other part of the world, people are already retargeting of content, right? And specifically to different region. And I think Malaysia, we're obviously a blessed country. We have different part where we have different cultural, we have different language. So for example, East Coast is different language altogether. Sabah and Sarawak has got different language altogether. And I think there are a lot of opportunity for broadcasters to figure out how do we create content for markets like this. But obviously there's a lot of other things that we need to sort out. For example, there's no rating measurement in Sabah and Sarawak. For example, my fellow Sabah and Sarawakians are on top of TV Sarawak. This is one good example, right? But we can't measure whether they are effective or not, right? So I think that's something that we as broadcaster, as we evolve, trying to figure out how do we use technology to do this better, to effective target in different part of the region of the country. We relaunched our East Coast radio station about a year ago, Molek FM, and it's been a success for us because going back again, people want something that is localized for them, right? They don't care what happens in Kuala Lumpur. They come on holiday in Kuala Lumpur, but at the end of the day, they're going back to East Coast or even going back to Sabah and Sarawak, but there's no content specifically created for them in those regions. So I think that's something that we want to explore because Malaysia is quite unique. Culturally, we're quite unique. We're different states, with different dialect. And recently, we're just talking about AI, right? AI is something that potentially will help doing this in the future, right? I've met a few companies recently. They're already doing dialect in AI, right? You build a large language platform and you sort of build a directory of dialect and you insert it inside. Boom, you've got it. You got an AI that can do your voice over in Kelantanese dialect, for example, right? So I'm quite excited because I heard the Sabah and Sarawak dialects are almost completed. The dialect in Kelantans are almost completed already. So I'm quite excited to see what kind of different things that we can do with it, right? So for example, we're even talking about how do we create news content that is in dialect in Sabahan, for example, right? Because we write Media Prima, Berita Harian Harum Metro, we write content in Central, but there are content that's relevant to people outside the universe of the Klang Valley. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicholas. Moving on to Navin. Just to add on to Nicholas' thoughts, what do you think would be the advertisers' appetite for regional advertising? So, meaning to say, you have specific content for specific region. Like RTM has got the regional, Utara, Selatan. So, would that be a good thing for advertisers?
Well, in a previous life, we actually did do that with radio, with RTM radio actually.
Yes.
Okay, and the kind of, I know everyone talks about the bigger number radio stations, but sometimes when you go back to these nuances in the smaller groups, you build a different sort of resonance with them, and you become more localized as opposed to mass, because nobody wants to be talked to in a general room, they want to be talked to on a personal level.
Exactly.
Right? So it does help. It's just that the kind of content that has to resonate as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and moving on, I would like to have this. I will pose this question to you, which is a little bit different. Why is it that large audience share or ratings for local contents or program doesn't always lead to higher advertising revenues? Could you enlighten us? Because everybody wants to know.
Okay. Back in 2003, Saiful's in the crowd. Saiful was servicing me when I was in the previous brand. We were sponsoring Hindi movies. Hindi movies were the Korean movies that day, right? Confirmed 3 million audience. Anyone, any channel that runs it, it'll confirm 3 million, right? And they were all smart because nobody wanted to compete with each other. Because why waste the opportunity, right? Everyone's selit sini, selit sana. Everyone got the 3 million. And for advertisers, if you wanted to sponsor something, check the Hindi movie out. We were one of those advertisers. The problem is that became kind of a stale duck after a while. So we did an experiment in 2004. We came out with a 5-minute capsule cook show running 5 times a day for 30 days, right? Our own branded content. And 200 hours of branded content later, it worked for us. We stopped doing sponsorships, except in areas or markets where we wanted to do reach, like for example, our global perspective and everything else, that we did sponsorships. Singapore, too small to do branded content, we did sponsorships. But in Malaysia, where is our heart and soul, basically, we did our own branded content, which was always localized, right? So it does work, depending on the kind of message you want to send out. And, it's not about the audience, the reach, because we didn't have the 3 million for our cook shows, but we never did a sales promo in 20 years.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I would like to, Datuk Suhaimi, moving on to regional broadcasting ni. RTM?
Regional.
Okay. RTM has got your TV TV Kedah,
Yes.
TV kan, and you've TX News pukul 5, regional news kan. Would it make sense to have a macam program-program station macam di utara, you got Kedah, Penang, Perlis contoh, have at that point just transmit for specific utara, selatan.
Okay, all right. At RTM, we believe in hyperlocal because I think hyperlocal is so important. For example, earlier this year, we went to Kelantan just to meet our clients, our advertisers and potential advertisers. And they want specific content that would resonate with the audiences in Kelantan. So we feel them, all right? Now, if you ask for hyperlocal, it's already happening with us on radio. And we get good money actually, because normally we go for mass. The thinking is like, okay, go for the bigger audience. But for us, since we have our offices, we have RTM Kelantan, RTM Kedah, so the people in those states, they understand the audiences better. So radio, we are already hyperlocal. We are already doing it. For TV, okay, this is a nice part. What we are doing now is we are experimenting on how it's no longer TV1, TV2 or TV OK, whatever. It's no longer there. It's coming up with the content and let the content travel to the different platforms, be it terrestrial, be it digital, and you have to sell those content well. Then the audiences will come. So basically, you have to do a little bit of extra work to reach to your market. And then later, if you want to boost or whatever, it's your choice. So we are actually doing that already for radio. TV will come up very, very soon. Yeah.
Okay, what I'm trying to get at is, this is basically on the MyTV platform. If MyTV has the technology to have a regional, to broadcast your TV program regionally for specific period, specific time,
Yeah.
would you be on board?
In fact, we have already done it. If you go to RTM Click, you will have specific programs done by the people in Sarawak and also for other states too. Because in Sarawak, kita Kelakar Sarawak, yeah? So it's a different language altogether. So we had Melissa Francis, we had Azam Pate, great stars in Sarawak, yeah? So we have content in Sarawak, and the different states are already building it. So we are putting all those content in a house where you can find on RTM Click. We are actually doing that. Yeah, we do it on RTM Click, not so much on linear, because linear ni susah. You have pukul 8, 8:30, you have to slot just one program. But on OTT, we don't care what your interests are. So basically, if you like documentaries, you have your documentaries there. If you like Sarawak content, you can go for Sarawak content. So it is already happening. It's just that we need to make it better. You learn, you make mistakes along the way. But if you're not doing it, then you rugi lah. Yeah? So you just have to continue improving on what you have done. So at RTM, we're doing that. And I'm very, very lucky because I have a very young team. I'm the oldest, my goodness. I brought their age average up. Yes. And we changed the whole way of reporting. I'm a newsman. I've been a journalist for the last 32 years. But now you see things are changing. Recently, in Sukma, yeah, the way we reported sports news has totally changed. Previously, it would have been kejohanan Sukma ini, pemenang pingat emas ialah dari Johor dengan masa, you know. But now, if you go to RTM Sukan, this is how we report it. Okay, recently in Sukma, the first paragraph was rupanya Incredible Hulk ni berasal dari Perlis. So basically, it's weightlifting. Now, pingat emas di mana? And then the next one was Min dulu suka nak lompat tinggi tapi Min pendek. Jadi Min tak nampak, tak boleh dah lompat tinggi. So kita tengoklah siapa menang lompat tinggi kat Sukma. So it is fun and people are so engaged in it and so they waited for the next one and the next one and the next one. So it has never happened before. People actually waited for the next results. So things are changing. So what's important is, number one, know what people want. Know the changes in what people, because people are so depressed nowadays. You are so stressed, so you want your news to be fun. So we have changed the news altogether. Yeah, because if you continue with the old way of doing news, then people will not watch you. Okay, and another thing is, can I have more time?
Yes.
Suddenly I'm so excited.
You can have the floor.
I'm so excited.
Gentlemen, are you okay? You have the floor? No worries. You can have this as well.
So because you see, you know what's happening right now is because, number one, before I joined RTM, to me the RTM brand is so distant. You know, there are TV government, serious. You know, tak boleh senyum pun. Sari berita utama. You know, so that's the image that we had of RTM. So right now we are changing, and everyone is changing in RTM. So we work on three things. Yeah, your brand must be, number one, relevant. Number two, relatable. And number three, your brand must be lovable. You must love the brand so that people will come and consume you day after day, hours after hours. So that's basically what we work on. So today, when we produce a program, like yesterday I had people in my office. I said, why lah your program ni sangat macam boring? You know, can we change it a little bit? You know, because the younger ones will not watch this. Have a little bit of fun in it. So basically, when the whole team shares that relevant, relatable, and lovable, you will come up with content. So the way we judge a content now, let's say you have finished editing, after post-production, we look at the content. So checklist number one, relatable or not? I don't think so. Relevant or not? I don't think so. Is it lovable? We love it? Yes. That if it fails in that three checklists, redo. So that's basically what we have to do. So now, instead of waiting to be shot, so they start thinking proactively, coming out with new content, new ideas and all that. So that's the change that's happening in RTM right now. So that is why we see the ratings and viewership of certain programs. Some have increased 100%, some 200%, some 300% increase in certain programming on terrestrial. And also we are growing our numbers on digital. Yeah.
So
thank you.
And I'm staying with him, gentlemen. So okay.
Sorry.
Dia former anchorman dia mesti nak. So, giving you more time. We just wanted to. I have this question. Okay? You've made significant changes, which is related to what you've.
Oh, is it for me again?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
You've made significant changes to RTM's format. Okay, which is, to me, personally refreshing.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thought process behind this? You've mentioned it a bit, but please expand.
Okay.
And has it led to additional increase advertising revenue?
Okay, I think the revenue has increased. Kamal naik tak? Naik kan, Kamal? Revenue naik kan? Yes, okay. So we have seen an increase in revenue, you know. So Kamal is our head of commercial marketing sales. Okay, now I think it's about connecting with your audience. Before this, RTM tak connect dengan audience. You know, and you see a certain distance. So right now, what we do is, we have a group of people, they call themselves the Media Digital Interactive. So they interacted with people. So they come up with great content, fun content. And I fight on Twitter, X. I don't have anybody who's managing my social media. I manage my own social media. So until the minister, one day, Fahmi said, Cik Mi, sudahlah, janganlah gaduh lagi dekat Twitter, So you have to be there to answer all the questions, all the criticism. So then you carry the brand. So that is so important for any organization. It can be the leader, it can be the spokesperson, it can be a designated person to actually speak to the audience so that the audience will feel that people care for them. If you don't have that connection, it will be very tough. So that is why right now what we see is previously people go for the big names in advertising, But at RTM, what we are seeing right now is we are growing small and medium enterprises. We have organizations, we have companies like Nesque. Nesque buat sarang burung, So Nesque started with just 500 ringgit on radio. And today, Nesque is actually spending 1 million on concerts on RTM. So we grow all these small and medium enterprises because the bigger ones have moved to digital, somehow. But we still have the SMEs that we are cultivating. So this is one way for us to move. So at the end of the day, it is about you bring in, you create, to answer your question, itu baru preamble. So to answer your question, it's basically creating a conducive ecosystem for talents to flourish. So if you have that right, people will be happy to work in that organization. And advertisers, when they speak to you, they can actually feel the vibe. So that is why they're in. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Naveen, is it true or not?
Kan? Naveen baik.
So I'm going to go to you again, Naveen. Sandeep mentioned in his earlier slides that you're looking at 70%, 74% on digital, 30% on other things, and linear TV, blah, blah, blah. What does it take to make the ratio back to 50-50? What does it take for the broadcasters? Okay? Right. But, okay, to give you, would a tax rebate, if the government were to offer you, all the advertisers a tax rebate, for you to advertise on local platform, whether on linear TV or local OTT, would that help?
Okay.
Reduce this 70-30 deficit.
Well,
Your personal thoughts.
okay. Tax rebates, tax incentives will definitely help. Okay, I'll never say no to that. But end of the day, right, we all know as brands and with customers are not loyal, right? So like somebody said just now, they're not loyal to platforms. They're not loyal to anything except for that minute of what they're watching, right? So on that context, if the content is there and the tax incentives are there to support that content or investments in that content, then it does make sense, right? We'll definitely take it because, as opposed to putting money somewhere else where it's a closed door scenario, they tell us what the ratings are, they tell us everything, and we're supposed to believe, okay? This one, we know for a fact there is potential, but the cost may be a bit higher, and the other side may be cheaper. Okay, so that offsets, yes. But if rating tak ada lah.
Yes.
So no matter how much of a discount you give me, rating tak ada. So that doesn't serve the purpose, right? So it has to be a balance between the two. Okay, I'm a proponent on branded content, right? Simply because I grew up masa TV tu ada switch, okay, and we knew literally what time to turn because remember those days there was a starburst like thing before programs okay, and you click just in, it was a game almost, right? You click just at the time and dah habis, program starts and chips is back on, right? Yeah, and you knew, yeah, my age as well.
Yeah. I can relate that as well.
And you knew literally when it's coming as well. When the commercial break was coming, you just click just in time. You're watching another program. So you're watching two programs at the same time, right? Now, we grew up as a generation of channel surfers. Okay, so I don't know how many ads we really watched, except when our timing tersilap lah. Okay, and then Guinness start keluar. Okay, but the end of the day, that whole generation has just evolved even worse right now. Now you are talking about multi-screeners who are watching three different things. I got a Gen Z in the house and Gen Alpha. Okay, I don't have no clue what the next generation of betas are going to be like. Okay, and they are consuming all this content on all these devices at the same time, and they seem to understand everything that's going on, except hearing us. right? That's the general thing. Auto tune off. Okay, but they can tune on to all these things. So as a brand, we're just trying to reach them any which way. Okay, but the problem now is on certain things that we know has a bit more relevance, measurability tak ada.
Okay.
Okay, that is the problem, right? And the measures that we have, I mean, we look at the metric system, kan? Metric system has been adapted a long time. But how long is your ruler? 12 inches, right? Not 10 cm, kan? Why? Because there must be a standard, right? So even though you're looking at a 12-inch ruler that says 15 cm, and you're running a metric scenario, it's still 12 inches because that's a standard. We don't have a standard here. And the standard, when we started talking about this years ago, I made a joke in that meeting, okay? By the time we actually get to this, we won't be even looking at screens, it will be probably direct input. I hate to see that happen. Okay? Because we need to go somewhere. Because right now, it's no longer about 2 TV stations or 3 TV stations or every other platform there is, because you're looking at literally everyone here is a station already. Okay? Everyone is a content creator. Everyone is stealing time from everybody else. Okay? So we'll be running commercials running through each one of you guys as well, as content creators.
Yes. Thank you, Naveen. Just to share with everyone, just in case you're wondering what Naveen is on about this measurement, it's about having a single audience measurement across all platforms, which I think MCMC is working on it. Not I think, I know that MCMC is working on it with the assistance of the industry. We'll get there eventually. Hang on. A lot of hurdles to cross, but we'll be there, by hook or by crook. Don't lose hope. Nicholas, talking about measurements. As a Tonton OTT, what kind of measurements do you give, or rather a package of offerings based on measurements do you give to advertisers so that they advertise on your platform?
Yeah, it's in your question, right? But when I want to answer it, it's like our measurements are not as complex as our competitor, right? It goes back to a competitive landscape with our competitor, right? We're quite blessed, it's Media Prima and all our digital asset with the audience that we have, the competition that we're closest to try and catch over the past 4 or 5 years is Meta and Google, right? But we're nowhere close on measurement, right? Because measurement platform that they use to lock us all in their ecosystem is not even what we can do in Media Prima with all the things that we can actually invest in, right? So for example, one of the things that we can't do even at the measurement level is live measurement, right? Meta and Google gives you live measurement for a campaign. We can't because we don't have technology to do it, or not so much of we can't afford to do it, right? Because competition is not even summer lah, right? Naveen and I was at what event were we at? The commission, the Malaysian Commission of Competition, right? So they were asking us a lot of questions like, how do we make sure that the industry is summer level dengan our competitor, cross competitor? It's not. We can't even get close there, right? So what we try to do as much as possible, like in Media Prima, is try to figure out then how do we just control what we have in our ecosystem, right? So over the past 2-3 years, we've been building our first-party data, which we call RevID. So what we're capable of doing is we cut across Tonton, Harian Metro, Berita Harian, and all our assets to try to measure where they are and what they're doing on our side. With that, we can actually use data that that is valuable for us to make sense of what kind of content we can produce, what kind of things we can push out to the market. But in terms of what we can provide to the advertisers are here. They know we can provide as much as we can, right? So we're not in that level. To answer your question, we provide measurement, rating, views, MAU, but we're not to the level where we can actually compete with our closest competitor on the side. So with that, equals to, that means the revenue doesn't come to local, local player like us, whether we are a broadcaster, whether we are digital. So a lot of people, when they look at what we do with the Rev, our peers like the stars, we are Sina Harian together with in MDA. They always ask us, "Hey, you guys are doing so well with all this measurement. If you can only imagine how much money we make with the investment we're making back and try to compete with our closest competitor." Every time quarterly, Dato' Izam knows it, we go to the board and actually ask, "Nicholas, why are you investing in this cloud thing berjuta-juta, tapi no what's the ROI?" But you're telling us to compete, right? We're trying to compete. But the amount of resources that we have as local competitor, we're not even close to try to compete in the area, yeah.
Thank you. So, in other words, what you're saying is it's not quite a level playing field in that
Correct,
sense.
it's not.
Yeah?
It's not level field.
So, please appreciate that what the industry is going through, competing against the international platform, they have got different sets of rules, we have a different sets of rules. So I guess it is one of our role as MCMC to look into that.
Ya, nak tambah.
Boleh.
So I think we spoke about this quite a bit just now we were chatting. And I think one of the things that we really need, like as regulator, MCMC, is try to figure out how do we manage, at least give potential competition with local publisher, local broadcaster. One very good example is censorship. Censorship kan? Astro knows this, we know this. We cannot put naked people on Tonton. But if you go on Netflix switching the app, right? How many naked people you can see? Ramai kan? We already lost the competition there already. Right? Gelak kan? Semua orang gelak tengok ni. Tengok. Right? We already lost it there. But what can we do, right? We can always complain. But in other countries like India, Singapore, they're not being censored, but the platform know they're being monitored, right? Similar to us, if you complain to somebody, it takes forever to be taken down, or not even taken down altogether, right? I think we just talked about DNS blocking, or it's got controversial topics here. When I read it, I was like, oh my goodness, we can actually do this. But because I think it's a lot of pressure from everyone, I think it was taken off. But I think that's probably one area that we can hope that the regulator can help us with, because then it will give us at least some level of competition in terms of in the area. I think there's a lot more there's to be, but I think that's probably one of the things, the longest thing that, as us, Tonton, I think obviously Astro also going through the same thing, that we know we cannot compete in that area already. Like even, YouTube, similar, right? TikTok, similar, right?
Yes.
We can't even compete with the type of content that can be published and can't be published on our platform. Yeah, thank you.
Dato' Izam, based on your experience with Disney, what content that they produce over there, that you procure, that we need to do to reach that standard? Lebih kurang lah.
Wow, okay, that question is a bit tricky to answer. But hearing from what Nicholas just said, and what you're saying, and what the role of regulation here, and from the experience I've seen across Southeast Asia, working with those content creators over there, I believe that the biggest thing that we need to do is make our content better first. Yes, it reaches a lot of people, but sometimes the quality is, as you know lah, same story, same dato, mega holdings. Right. So we need something better. It could be the same story but done in a brilliant way. Now the issue is our storytellers are not equipped yet. There are good people out there, but not a revolution, right? So instead of us always saying we need a level playing field, please restrict others, I say don't build walls, but build wings for our guys to jump over everything. Because if you focus on building walls, that's like saying the Malaysian Badminton Open, only Malaysians can enter. Obviously, the level will go down very fast. You need to compete out there. So the best thing, the thing that I see missing in Malaysian content production is you've got very good pre-production, because we are a very organized lot here in Malaysia. You got great production because there's a lot of incentives from the government and from private sector to things that you can see. But you have very, very bad investment in development, writing scripts, writing stories, getting people to be exposed to the literature of the world so that they can write really good stuff. And you're missing the final act as well, incentives for investors to come in. If that can be solved, I think we are able to compete. The issue is now, it might be a little bit too late because of the fight of OTT around the world to control. Now, OTT, as you know, the international OTT, they have a content budget the size of a third world country, GDP, right? So you think about it, you can't really compete with them on trying to be another Netflix. You have to be your own version of it, right? So I think now you look at all of that, you want to make sure that our content can compete. The issue is, because OTTs are all fighting, everybody, when they look at Southeast Asia, number one, they see it as kind of a backwater. But once they focus on it, they can only see one country, Indonesia. So everybody throws money there, right? I've been at fault as well, because I was a commissioner there. And then the next country is Thailand. And that's it, they stop. Why don't they go to Malaysia? Because it's number one, not enough population. Number two, our ARPU is not as high as the Singaporeans. So therefore, it's like, no, neither here nor there. So let's focus on Indonesia. So what we see is a lot of the top talent around the world and Indonesians are benefiting from this investment into Indonesia and then Thailand, right? Because of that, their storytellers are getting better and better and better and better, and there's no way to pull them back. So we got to fight. The best thing I would always tell everybody here, can we incentivize our guys here to get into their programs, into the Indonesian program, so we benefit from that. In fact, some of our creative guys are already making films for them because they are running out of talents. They got so much demand, but not enough talent. So they're pulling the Malaysian guys first because Malaysian kind of looks like them. And we have the same comedy nuance, we understand each other's jokes, mainly 50% of the time. And then after running out of Malaysian talents, they're going to go for the Filipinos or the Thailand. So the thing is, we got to figure out how to build wings for our guys so that they can become very good storytellers. Now, the reason why this is important, because it filters back into our local content, and then you can see our local content become even bigger and bigger and better, and everybody will rush to all our local platforms because that's where the home is, right? And then the advertisers that will benefit from what you call very strong engagement, and nobody will live in this Tower of Rapunzel anymore because they see Tower of Rapunzels everywhere from Kampung Baru to Pendang. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way forward, that I think we should figure out how to help our local content by giving them incentives from the development side and from the investment side.
Talking about incentives, I think for content production, there are quite a number of incentives provided by finance and whatnot. Is it sufficient, not sufficient?
We've had numerous discussions here about it. I still think there's needed in development. There's lots in production because you can see shiny things, shiny camera studios, and all. You can see post-production, you can see. Development, the art of writing, needs more. We need more work with the university students. In high school, we need to concentrate on creative writing, on an exposure to arts, literary arts from around the world, so that people will understand what they're doing. I've seen elementary schools in Indonesia, in Bandung, they study the arts and the literature to the level that our high school students here don't study. So obviously when they come out, they have a bigger appreciation of art, and their art will elevate, right? So now we got to figure out how to catch up.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. That's very insightful. So we've basically concluded the 2 rounds, and I just need to go on Slido for questions. Okay, this is one question here. What would be successful creative strategies for engaging consumers through TV in today's challenging environment? So who would like to answer that?
Nick.
Nick? I think Okay.
Okay. End of the day, whatever, and I know we call the word marketing, right? I hate the word marketing. I like to call it consumerizing, simply because end of the day, it's about them and who the person on the other end that you're trying to reach that with that message, right? So, if you know the platform, rather than trying to reach them at the wrong platform, you need to know the platform you're engaging with and who is on the other side of that platform, right? So if, for example, okay, let's take an analogy from what we had in the morning. You're making a tuna sandwich, right? Okay, you get everything ready, and then all of a sudden, yang datang tu tongkol. Boleh tak? Tak boleh kan? So you can't make a tuna sandwich that way. So you need to know who's on the other side of the equation and understand them first, and that is the critical part of the strategy, right? Knowing who's on the other side, then trying to figure out, okay, now I need to reach them. I have a message from my brand. How do I get my message over to the other side so it will resonate with them? And it's not just about pushing my logo out there or pushing my product in their face, but it means something to them. Okay, and that's a critical part. So for that, you, like Isam said, you literally need to be them or be part of them or observe them. That's the main part. Yes, the data and all that will help because it'll help you put you in that direction. It also helps you quantify later whether it was effective. But a relationship is not built on data.
Yes.
Right?
True. Okay, thank you, Navin. And I've got a specific question here. They got a question for me. How has government's directive of curating content on RTM changed in face of Netflix? Also, do you think Uncle Roger's fried rice is sedap?
I've never tried the fried rice, so I can't answer that. I think it is basically about balancing lots of things. For example, recently during the pitching, taklimat pitching at RTM recently, I specifically mentioned to the producers, I said, okay, they all love cerita cinta, because this one will work and people will just love it, how mertua akan benci menantu, menantu akan will always be the victim of mertua, and people will love it like every year you will have that, and then you have Tan Sri ada bini nombor 2, things like that, yeah. So and that's basically what people love. You cannot not do those things. But since government directive is, how do you make people understand peralihan tenaga? Okay, so that was the KPI given to me. Okay, so you have to make sure that there's an SDG. So I said, boleh tak the plot is like this. Okay, orang kaya, rich man. The wife just died. Has a bachelor, has a young son. And then we have to also include women empowerment in the story. So we have to tell people about solar energy. So there is a CEO who runs a solar energy company who on that particular day, everyone was an MC. So only the CEO was in the office. And the customer is a very important customer. He needed to change the solar panel on the rooftop. So the CEO came with the ladder and climbed and changed the solar panel, and things went back to normal, and the rich man fell in love with the CEO. Yeah. So basically, that's how we weave in government directive in our messaging. Number one. Number two, and I hope the thing will work. So that's another story. So there's another thing is also to make sure that Ministry of Finance. Okay, how do you make finance, for example, the growth rate of the country, the GDP, the GNP, sexy for people to consume? So that is basically the challenge that RTM would face on a single day. So how do you make that message palatable to people to really understand where we're heading? So you have to do that. You have to do the balancing act. Hey, it's not easy, you know. So what we've done is we got the younger people to come up with a storyline, and we work together with the Ministry of Finance to make sure that, hey, now this is how to understand a GDP story. This is how to understand why the exchange rate has improved. But it has to be done in a totally, totally entertaining way. So that is how we manage. I've never done this before. This is my first foray to government. Okay, so it's tough. So basically, that's basically how we do it. Yeah. So you need to balance things. This is government's directive. Yeah. But how do you balance? And there are certain things. I always believe in lateral thinking. If you can't do it this way, you do it many other ways. Yeah. So there's no one way to stop you if you're very creative in getting the things across, the messages across. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, basically. There's so many ways to skin a cat, like you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the session for session 2. I would like to thank the panelists for your insights, for your honesty, for generously sharing your time, and for all your thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a big round of applause to Datuk Suhaimi Sulaiman, Datuk Izam Omar, Mr. Nicholas Sagao, and Mr. Navin. Another round of applause, please.